Welcome to Read Your Comics. Today I'm looking at Deadpool number 1. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to be checking out the first issue of the ongoing Deadpool series. His first solo book was a mini-series. I've got a video on it with Joe Mad art. Go check that out. I'll definitely link it up in the description. Before I dive into this one, though, I just want to say thanks to all the viewers' support. Every like, comment, and subscription is appreciated. If you're enjoying positive comic content, please consider hitting thumbs up. Comments are always encouraged. And if you haven't already, why not hit subscribe so you never miss any future videos? I created this channel to entertain and maybe inspire you to read some comics. If you think that's a good message and other comic fans need it in their feeds, then your likes, shares, subs, tell the YouTube algorithm to put it in front of them. With that said, I'm going to be a little negative today. I'm not a huge Deadpool fan. I've never really cared for the character. Back when X-Force came out, I was not getting New Mutants. I did jump on X-Force when it first started because it was a big book at the time, and you go into the comic shop and it basically has a shelf full of them, so you're going to check that out for a few issues. It just didn't resonate with me for some reason. I know it was so popular, but it just didn't. Now, I did like the design of Deadpool, but really back then, he was in it so infrequently, he just wasn't a character that I was super interested in. I did check out the miniseries that I mentioned a minute ago when it first came out, and I liked it okay. It had really cool, clean art in it. There just wasn't a whole lot in that story that made me fall in love with the character as a whole. And when this book came out, this came out when I was actually working at a comic shop. I did read the first handful of issues, partly because there was a lot of acclaim for it. And this is in late 96, early 97, kind of the dark age, I guess you would say, of Marvel Comics. And so if somebody was saying something was good, I was going to at least look at it. I never bought it because I was working at the comic shop, so I would read the shelf copies. Even to this day, though, nothing really stands out story-wise, like rings any bells, other than I remember this being the series where Deadpool really takes on that Merc with a mouth attitude, and he eventually starts breaking the fourth wall in this series. This is Joe Kelly, who I was also enjoying writing Daredevil at the time. So there was enough there to make me check this out, even if I was never a huge Liefeld fan or Deadpool fan at the time. And to be honest, Deadpool, while popular, was nothing like he is today. He wasn't even at Cable was still more popular than Deadpool. So I always kind of look back on this ongoing series as the one that elevated Deadpool up to where he would eventually get a hit movie and sequels to that movie, and you would start seeing stickers on the back of cars with the Deadpool logo and all of the things. I credit this series as the one that kind of really got that going. I mean, obviously, he was popular in his couple of appearances in New Mutants and X-Force, but it was this series that, in my opinion, cemented his place in the pantheon of characters for Marvel. So this is actually the facsimile that just came out a couple weeks ago. Normally, I would have passed on a modern facsimile, but I hear there is a movie coming out, and I thought I would, exploit the algorithm there a little bit. So, and it was a fun book to look at. This is also Ed McGuinness, and I don't know what Ed McGuinness did before this, but this is kind of the one that I feel like put him on the map. So it has a wraparound cover. The front makes you think, oh, Deadpool's going to be fighting maybe Sabretooth, but then you get around the back, and it's clearly not Sabretooth. It is Sasquatch. And I don't know if that was meant to be a mystery because they kept his back turned, but it's pretty obvious. Anyhow, let's jump on in. First issue. And it starts with Deadpool. He's narrating, and you get this guy, he's like somewhere in South America. You get this guy, and he's speaking in Spanish, and his translator says, I think I hear him, and he's talking. Duh, it's called narration, you ignorant simp. So you're already getting Deadpool self-narrating his story. He's not fourth wall breaking here, but he is verbally narrating what he's going to do, probably whispering it to himself. And he comes in and he takes out these rebels, government, I don't know what they are exactly. He takes them out, and the whole thing is he's here to heist this big, giant gun. Typical 90s looking gun with a crazy oval looking barrel. And the tone of the book is set by the title of the issue. Hey, it's Deadpool, or Deadpool #1. So you're already getting the humor. The tone is definitely set in these first 2 pages as Deadpool's running for his life after he's heisted this gun. Some pretty decent action here. I have mixed feelings about Ed McGuinness, though. I appreciate his style, his cartooniness, his chunkiness. I don't know that it always works great in comics, though. So while I would say I don't not like Ed McGuinness, he's not an artist that I would jump on a book for. I enjoy his covers more than I enjoy his interiors most of the time. Anyway, so here comes these guys in these mech suits. He's kind of narrating the whole time, and here he's trying to get his teleportation device to operate. It's on the fritz. It's out of power or something. So he gets on this mech suit. He finds like a cord. See, this is the part that I thought I can't quite tell what's going on here. He puts it to his chest. He gets the power cord. He's going to charge up his teleportation thing, and he puts it on his chest. So is it in his chest? I don't know. I don't really know. It shocks him, which is kind of funny. And then he teleports out. And I guess he takes the helmet of the thing. I guess he was holding it, and the guy's face is like, it could have taken my head off. So he goes to deliver the gun to whoever he's supposed to give it to, and he's like, and the guy's, saying, oh, great, this will help us in our rebellion, and yada, yada. And he's like, yeah, that's great. Where's my money? And they give him this money of their rebellion. Deadpool is like, what do you mean? He's like, in a few years, our coffers will overflow with this money, and it will be very valuable. Deadpool's like, let me show you how to use that gun. And you get these characters in the shadows kind of watching, and you just hear the, oh God, fop, 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 fop. So Deadpool didn't take being given Monopoly money well. I guess this is the first appearance of some of this stuff. So this is called Hell House, which is where I guess Deadpool gets his jobs, his mercenary jobs. I was unaware. I kind of, just looked it up before to see if there were some first appearances in this book, and this is new. This is something new. This guy looks like a character out of Street Fighter. He looks like Blanca, except not green. I wonder if that's on purpose. Anyhow, I guess this guy with this absurdly bushy mustache, his name is Patch. I think we already had a character that went by Patch at one time, but anyway. He's Patch. He gives out jobs. Here's our person that was watching him before. They obviously want him. He throws down the worthless money, and he's mad. He's mad, and he's throwing like a temper tantrum with all these other mercenaries in the place. There is good dialogue that keeps it moving through here. Now we're going to jump to Antarctica, where there's a lab going on with some kind of gamma thing. And we get Dr. Langowski, I don't know how you say his name, who is Sasquatch of Alpha Flight. And there's some introduction here about like, oh, don't you miss your days with Alpha Flight? Just so you know who he is. Because otherwise he'd just look like big dude in a lab coat. Now we get the first appearance of Blind Al. So this is a character that shows up in the movies, and I don't recall if she had like powers in the movie. But in this, they definitely make it seem like she has some kind of powers. A girl comes to sell... She says she's there to sell cookies. It kind of looks like a book. Anyway, girl comes to sell cookies or something. Dialogue here, or her thought bubble is like she doesn't want to be doing it. She comes off bratty. She comes off kind of bitchy, to be honest. And she lowers her glasses down, and that's where she says she has x-ray eyes. And the girl runs away, drops the cookie box. She basically steals the cookies from the little girl. And as she's walking into the house, see, I don't think this plays well either. It looks nice, and she says, drop hollowed in. And then it looks just run down. But why? Like, what is the point of that? The girl doesn't come in the house or anything. So unless this whole house looks run down on the outside and they're trying to make it look nice, but even then, I don't know. It didn't make sense. I guess it's just to establish that they have some kind of holographic technology in this house that Deadpool lives in with this woman. I like how on his hanger he has multiple costumes. And they have some snarky banter between the two. I'll say this, McGuinness does a lot of this, like faces in the shadow. It's almost like he doesn't want to draw a face sometimes. Back to the lab, they're doing some kind of experiment with gamma rays in the Antarctic. Langowski's going to go out. I do like this transformation here. This is a pretty good sequence of him like turning into Sasquatch, becoming hairy as he goes. I don't like how this panel worked out with the blacked out face. That's where I was saying I think he's like doesn't want to draw the face there. I mean, you've got this big splash page of Sasquatch in this big cartoony style. I do like his feet right there. I like the way he did the thumb toe, which is interesting. That's the big toe. And he does it more like a hand, which is kind of neat. It's just the blacked out face with these like crazy looking eyes. That doesn't work for me. The rest of it's pretty cool. Definitely the distorted proportions of the body are an Ed McGuinness trademark. So if you like Ed McGuinness, that's awesome. I just think him blacking out the face, it's almost like he didn't quite get it the way he wanted. So when in doubt, black it out. But it messes up, I think, this image overall. Now we get, this is Deadpool, and he's using an image inducer, and he's like flipping through different bodies as he's talking to this guy, who I don't know who this is. Maybe it's his first appearance too. We're just establishing different characters with Deadpool. He gets a page to go back to the Hell House to get a new job. There's some joking with this guy, T-Rex, I think they call him, and they must have some rivalry. It's his first appearance too, so it's like they're establishing that they have at least a verbal barbs between them, but they don't say anything about the history. Now he's in Antarctica, he gets teleported like a little ways away, and all of this is him razzing about having to walk through the snow to get to the base thing. And when he gets to where he's going, he was told it was an unmanned science station. And he runs into Sasquatch. Now that's a cool looking Sasquatch. That looks great. This page is awesome. And this is where he saw unmanned science station. He's like, I think they messed up the un. And he's like, this is a little wrinkle. So that's when he discovered, it was a man station. And Sasquatch comes out and they recognize each other, and I don't know where they met before. Deadpool has connections to Weapon X or Department H. Maybe that's where they met. I don't know. If you know and you want to let me know where these two have interacted before, if it was ever on page before this issue, shout it out. And then they scrap for a minute. The whole time, he's kind of lecturing Deadpool about, like, you idiot, you don't know what you've done. This is going to destroy the whole southern hemisphere. You got some good size here. Look at Deadpool sticking him with the sword, and he pulls the sword out, and he's holding it almost like a toothpick, like a pencil. Pretty funny. So they have a pretty decent little scuffle here. Probably not as violent as what later Deadpool scuffles would be. This didn't make a lot of sense to me either. Sasquatch throws Deadpool by that like gamma core thing that he was looking at, and it cracked it, and he's telling him don't move, and he points the gun at himself, and he's making some joke like goodbye cruel world, and you see Wade No coming from this way, the gun kapow shooting, but then over here it's like did he shoot this? Because this just looks like the same crack. Maybe a little bigger. Anyway, I don't think this was not clear how this broke down. I mean, like the joke here that he was going to shoot himself, but then he jokes that I was like, and I'm a bad shot. So it breaks the gamma core. Sasquatch tells him, you've really messed up. This is going to kill the whole southern hemisphere. And Deadpool doesn't really want that. He's a mercenary, but he's not trying to destroy the world. He's just out to, make money and stuff. So he says that, with his healing factor, he'll jump into the core and get this thing and save everything. Which he does. And it's a long issue. It's double sized. This is another good panel right here. Another good shot of Sasquatch. I don't really love how he did his eyes. I guess he went down here to the core, and look, it's like melting off his costume. He must have gone down there and used these grenade things to blow something up. I'll be honest, this was not very clear, but you get the gist of what happened. There was like more or less a gamma nuclear reaction about to happen or meltdown about to happen. Deadpool stopped it. Good for him. He gets back to New York. Good establishing shot there. We know what's going on. Black it out so you don't have to draw the details on it. And as he comes in, he meets these folks who are with Landau, Luckman, and Lake. That's something that carries over from Wolverine's series. You really see how much Deadpool is tied to Wolverine over the years. And they want to hire him for some other job. And at first he turns them down because he's mad at them because they're actually the ones that sent him out to Antarctica for the thing he just went through. And he's going to be done. So that's the end of the issue. There's actually a good bit of back matter here. And this was in the original. So, you know, I guess Deadpool was popular enough that they, you know, spent the extra money to do this. Like to look at the script and see some of the layouts. Looks like they got thumbnails and, you know, a finished pencil page. And this must be for the coloring process. So, you know, that's some kind of neat back matter here. Deadpool letters column. I don't like how they did it tilted like that. I didn't read any of this, I'll be honest. It's from Joe Kelly, though. Maybe these are letters from... So Deadpool had 2 miniseries before this. And they were a little earlier, though, I thought. The first one was 93. And then he had another miniseries after that. There was some space. They didn't just jump into like, oh, we'll test out a miniseries and then go straight into an ongoing. There was a few years between the two. Got Generation X promo stuff going on. Oh, they're setting up the flashback month right here. I should do some of those flashback issues. Those are pretty good. So that's Deadpool number 1. If you went out and saw Deadpool Wolverine this weekend, you know, I hope you enjoyed it. There was no fourth wall breaking in this book. I looked into it because I do remember it happening in this ongoing. I think they said the first time he does it is number 11 that has Stan Lee and Jack Kirby in it. Or no, Stan Lee and John Romita Sr. in it. And then they said he starts going like full-blown fourth wall breaking, I think around issue 26 or so is what I read. I could be a little off. But it was this series that started the fourth wall breaking. He was doing the self-narration. I don't remember him doing that in the first miniseries. I don't remember him doing that in X-Force. So I kind of look at this one. That's probably why they did this facsimile as the one that starts establishing the Deadpool that pop culture would come to know. So, hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, read your comics.